something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, Peaches! Oh, welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay, and you're our listener.
Hey there, listeners.
Ho there, listeners. Heidi, ho there, listeners. Can I be 1,000% honest with you?
Sure, did you think I mean coming in for the third one?
We do hi there, listeners, and I say ho there, listeners, and then there's always like this like a little bit of a pause where both of us are trying to think of something interesting to say, and
Sure.
literally when we start that, we don't have a third for it, and it makes me panic every time.
Oh, okay. Do you want to have it?
I'm not saying we need one, but
would you like just to say something?
I don't, it's fun. It kind of just like, it kind of tips us over on the side, and everything kind of spills out, and we just pick the Legos we want and start putting them together.
All right.
You know, that's the magic of podcasting.
Sure.
But I'll be damned if not every time I'm like, hey there, listeners, ho there, listeners. I'm like,
Oh no,
something about listeners. I don't like me. What do I do with my hands? Hey guys.
Oh, we're still going?
I guess we're still podcasting.
I mean, we can start again if you want to. If you
Oh,
want,
no,
if you
no,
want
no.
the third.
No.
We're keeping it.
I just.
It all stays in.
No, this is all gold, baby. This is
Okay.
all gold. This is all gold. This is keep the cameras rolling. He'll die, sir. You know? But it'll be damn good TV. Hey, everybody, welcome to Fix It. Where every week we take a piece of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe just
Found itself under a red sun and was powerless to stop what was about to happen.
Yep, and we fix it. You may know the two of us. I'm Jay. That's Adam. You may know us from the Wonderkind, from the absolute yellow star powered Superboy of all YouTube reaction content previewed. You may know us from there, or you may know us from that time that we borrowed your carpet shampooer and returned it in a timely fashion with a sweet note.
Oh yeah.
And candy. You may notice they're from there. This week we are going to be fixing the Zack Snyder-led 2013's Superman, Man of Steel, because the new Flash movie is coming out. I guess they're doing Flashpoint, and so they're resetting a bunch of stuff. So we decided, why not?
Well, because Zod's in the movie.
Oh, that's right.
Act 3 of Man of Steel is like not the inciting incident, but like the threat to Flashpoint, because Barry changed the timeline again. I don't know, Zod. Where's Superman?
And Earth became Krypton.
Aw, shucks.
Shoot Magoo.
Shoot Magoots, indeed.
I don't understand why they needed to terraform the planet to breathe on when... Why wouldn't you want just Kryptonians to live on this planet where we can all fly?
Yeah.
If Earthlings could go to another planet
And just kind of breathe.
and breathe and be fine.
Yeah. Well, it's like kind of going like to Denver.
But then also I could turn invisible.
Sure.
And
Just takes like 20 minutes to acclimate to the atmosphere. But
Yeah.
you are fine.
Yeah, but you're better than fine.
Yes.
You're bulletproof. Yeah, I think I might just keep it the same.
You're not wrong, Jay.
Yeah.
What? I
don't
know why they would do that.
Dang it! That was stupid. Shoot. Okay. So, fun fact about me, I knew enough to reference this film for a very long time, but I had never actually seen it until doing research for this show. And I want to be 1,000% honest with you. I had a great time. I actually really liked this movie. I think it may be Zack Snyder's best movie. I mean, it's hard to argue with 300. That's a kind of a masterpiece. But I really liked this movie. And I came over here, and I was excited to tell Adam that I really enjoyed a Superman movie. And then I told him that. And then he didn't stop talking for like 10 minutes.
I took a breath every now and then, and you interjected. I also asked you a few questions, some clarifying questions. Oh, why do you think that way? Okay.
I don't know, I just had fun. But also a fun fact about me. You are a huge Superman fan.
My childhood is defined by two heroes, Superman and Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
They are the ones that got me through childhood.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
I watched the original trilogy a bunch of times and the first two Superman films from the 70s a bunch of times.
Yeah.
3 and 4 are not very good.
Yeah.
They
You're also
are.
a little bit older than me, so you
Yes.
caught the wave of the Superman movies.
Oh, I very much
By
did.
the time I was around, the Superman movies were kind of out of the...
Oh, yeah, they kind of show their age by the time you show up.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially because then Batman 89 comes out, and I was like, yo,
Yes.
that movie's awesome.
Yes.
Batman is so cool.
Yeah. I think, yeah. As much as those old Superman movies were good for the time, like, I think we owe the modern superhero movie really started with Batman 89.
Oh, sure.
Like, in my opinion.
But, I mean, Superman is the one that...
Yes.
Superman led the way for superheroes across all mediums.
1000%.
He was the first superhero in comic books, and he was the first one to get to the movie.
I respect the historical importance of Superman writ large.
absolutely.
I think it's a bad character. I'm not interested in seeing a movie of someone who is completely powerful the entire time.
Well, the problem is that he has yet to be really written correctly in a movie.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
There are some wildly compelling stories about Superman out there, and especially in like DC animated stuff. But from an audience at large, live action, there has never been a well-written Superman movie,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
But I understand how Superman can be written correctly and written interestingly. But for me, really, at the end of the day, it's just, I'm just not really interested. It's just not the character for me. Whereas, like you were saying that like your two superheroes were Luke Skywalker and Superman. For me, it was Luke Skywalker and the X-Men. Those were so like my
Sure.
interest in superheroes went a completely different direction, and I just was never really interested in Superman. So that being said, I actually had a great time with this movie. But as we've been like kind of talking as we were setting up the podcast today, I was like, okay, I mean, I see. Dang it. Okay. but before we like dive into Superman
We'll get
writ
there.
large,
We'll get there.
this is normally the time of the show where Adam and I kind of just talk shop for a little bit and just see how we're doing. But we're recording this ahead of time because I have a baby coming. So we've introduced a new segment at the beginning of our show called Roll for Convo. Our producer Brian has come up with 12 conversation topics to maybe
20.
Did I say 12?
You just say 12.
You
This
know-
is not a D20. This
in
is
my
D20.
head, I said I saw a D20 and I said 12.
Uh-oh. My dyslexia is rubbing off on you.
Uh-oh.
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 Uh-oh. We have 20 conversation topics to just kind of, just
Spark a conversation.
strengthen our bond as internet best friends.
Or break it.
Or break it.
I'm sure that some of these questions are ticking time bombs
Yeah,
that we were
sometimes
unaware
we just
of.
want to, sometimes we just want to talk about the magic that is Vancouver.
Hey, it's a beautiful city. It rains a lot. They shoot a lot of shows there. Mm-hmm. It's the
Great.
It's the Hollywood of Canada, Jay.
All right, I have a D20 roller on my phone, and
Okay.
I'm rolling it now.
Here we go.
I got 8.
8.
Have we already done 8?
We have, but what?
Brian replaced it?
He always replaces the questions.
He's the best,
He's
man.
very good.
Our producer's really good.
Okay, so our roll for convo question for this episode is craziest story from a survival job.
I mean, I have a lot of them because I worked in the service industry for an extraordinary
A lot of
amount
stories?
time. A lot of
Okay.
yeah. The shortest one I have is I was waiting on a table of old ladies who were having brunch, and I approached the table, and one of the old ladies looked at me and said, "You're tubby. What's good here?"
Oh!
And I went, "Oh!" and all three of the other ladies at the table panicked.
Yes. Oh, yes. At least, okay, that's the right reaction. At least they panicked because I knew that was not a nice thing to say.
To which I said, to which I said, "You're old. You're not gonna like what you're gonna complain about whatever I bring you anyway."
Nice. Zing.
And she went, "I like you," and I went, "I don't like you.
I do not like you." Yeah.
But no, I got a very good tip. It was fine. My craziest, my one of the craziest survival job stories. Okay, so this was a night where we had 2 6-tops.
Those are tables that sit 6 people, right?
Yes.
Okay.
A 6-top is a party of 6. That's how restaurants refer to it. A table, a top.
Okay.
We had 2 6-tops in 2 opposite ends of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had people call ahead from one of these parties. Both of these 6-tops were, and this is this is just the fact of the matter. Both tables had birthdays at the table. Both birthdays were full 6-top of all Korean people.
Okay.
Both 6-tops, both all Korean birthday parties.
Okay.
Wow. So we knew one of the parties was bringing in their own cake, and so one of the people bringing the cake for joining, both tables had 4 people at them when they first got sat, and they're both waiting for 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
2 people came in, and let's just say they were going to the table on the left, and they said, "Hey, we're bringing this birthday tiramisu, like a big one. This is for that birthday party over there to the left." And we said, "Oh, okay, great." I take the cake, I go put it in the freezer, or the tiramisu, and go put it in the freezer in the back, and then it's all well and good. Everything is great. Both parties go well. My 6-top, who are the ones that had brought the cake, I bring out the tiramisu to that party, put the candles on it, we sing happy birthday to the person, and then I go have chef cut it up and bring it out for everybody, and then everyone's eating their tiramisu and having a wonderful time. And then the party on the right, one of the party members on the party on the right gets up and comes to the host stand and specifically finds me and was like, "Oh, we're ready for our birthday tiramisu that we brought in." And I went, "Hey, what?" I was like, "You're what?" And she was like, "Yeah, we're actually back here." And I went, "Excuse?" I was like, "What?"
So they got their table wrong?
They got their own table wrong.
Right, they got their table wrong. Yes.
And it was one of those things where I explained the situation to her. She freaks out. She calls me a racist. Because she was like, "Oh, just because we're all Korean?" I'm like, "Ma'am, you pointed to those people and said, you confused them." I was like, you pointed at that table and said, "That table, that has the tiramisu," and then didn't think to correct yourself when you got to the right table. I was like, "Fortunately, we serve tiramisu. I can hook up your whole party. We can make this.
Yeah.
We can make this right. It's not that hard to fix.
Not a big deal."
But it was one of those things where I was just like, at the end of the day, the most buck wild thing was that party, the other 6-top, just no one said anything.
They just received.
They just took that big old tiramisu and thought that's just. And then when I dropped their check, because I found out because their check was down, and then after I had this conversation, they were like, "Why is there like a dessert fee on our thing?" I was like, "Well, we have a cake cutting fee for bringing the tiramisu." I'm like, "We didn't bring that." I'm like, "You thought I was just gonna give you a free?" No one decided to say anything.
It's a birthday.
You were just gonna take a tiramisu to the dome and not say a word.
Yum yum yum! Get that egg stuff in my mouth.
Insane. It was like one of those. But the moment she was like, "We're ready for our tiramisu," and me just slow, creakily,
that's the camera just
moving to the left and watching them all just eating tiramisu and being like, I'm like, I'm so fucked.
Jay just looks to camera, is like,
It all ended up we all ended up having a good laugh about it at the
sure.
end, and she apologized for calling me a racist because I was like, I did what you told me to do. She was like, you didn't know I wasn't at the table. I was like, I have got 13 tables. I was like, I'm not making direct eye contact with everyone. Been like it's I'm slinging spaghetti, ma'am. Yeah,
I'm doing the best I can.
I have a lot of other like the restaurant sank at one point.
I'm sorry, it sank?
Well, we're in a basement, and
Yes.
one time we had a storm so bad that the grease trap also backed up, and so like basically like the restaurant had like 3 feet of water in it, and I had to tell people that they needed to leave, like they were at their table like drinking cocktails, like having fun, and they were like, it's not that bad, and I was like, get to the
lifeboats. Get
out
to
of here.
the lifeboats.
Get out of here, ma'am. We're actively flooding. Please leave. I can't believe that I'm having
But the spaghetti is so good.
They were done eating at that point. It was insane to
They
me.
really wanted their tiramisu. Yeah, I heard it's really good there.
I heard it's free. They just bring a whole one, a whole giant one, even though we have it on the. God, I walked away just being mad at my table, being like, you just took this tiramisu. No one wanted to say a damn thing.
No.
And then they didn't have to pay for it anyways. I just took it off the check. I was like,
of course,
you asshole. I know. So, Superman Man of Steel.
It's just Man of Steel.
It's just Man of Steel?
Yeah, there's no Superman in this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. A little weird.
Huh.
Man of Steel.
Before we hop into this movie, I feel like we kind of need to get Brian in here, though.
We probably should. Because this is interesting. Because this started the original Zack Snyder DCU, which got off to a rocky start.
Yeah. And the one that they are abandoning or...
They're flashpointing.
Retro flashpointing?
They're flashpointing.
What a bummer. All right. But yeah, Brian, why don't you, when Man of Steel, roll that beautiful bean fun fact footage.
Thank you, gentlemen. Producer Brian here, and today we're trying to fix 2013's Man of Steel. Directed by Zack Snyder and written by David S. Goyer, this movie stars Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Russell Crowe, Kevin Costner, and Diane Lane. This movie launched the DCEU and made around $668 million on a $225 million budget. But when all is said and done with marketing costs, the net profit of this movie was around $42.7 million. Now, it's the highest grossing solo Superman movie, but adjusted for inflation, it's actually number 2. Now, a standalone sequel was in development before they decided to merge it with Batman, creating Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. If you care, Man of Steel has a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. I also want to add that I love Superman, and I really like this movie despite its flaws. I really especially love all the flashback vignettes. However, we all know that Zack Snyder's best movie is 2004's Dawn of the Dead remake. He must really like putting the word Dawn in his titles. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Brian.
Good job, Brian.
Great job, Brian. I know Brian's also a big Superman fan, too.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should be best friends.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. I don't think you guys would be... I in the long of the short of it, I don't think you guys would make very good friends.
Oh, interesting.
You're too similar.
Oh.
Yeah. You know why that both of you guys like me so much? Because I'm very different than you guys.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... yeah, and you both have main character syndrome in a pretty spectacular fashion.
I mean, Jay, if you're determined to be a side character, like, you're gonna keep finding main characters.
Here's the you know the fun fact about it?
No, don't.
I'm not determined to be a second. I'm not determined to be a secondary character.
Oh, really?
I am just secure enough to know that I'm the main character, that I don't have to justify it at every moment. And I know that I can, as a main character, I can sometimes let other people have their B storyline. You know?
Do you think I'm trying to justify my main
Oh,
character?
yeah, you're just really flexing on main character syndrome at all times.
Am I really?
Yeah.
I don't even realize it.
Yeah. It was when you said that you were Wayne and I was Garth. I was like, that's delusional. That's delusional. Anyways. But So Superman, Man of Steel.
Nope, just Man of Steel.
Superman. Steeler Man.
Well, before we get to the actual reason why Jay liked this movie and why I'm going to tell him why maybe he should rethink his position, possibly. It's been almost 10 years since this movie came. No, it has been 10 years since this movie came out. So maybe you need a refresher of what happened in this movie. Because they really tried to start a whole DC universe off of this thing, and it just didn't work out. And I will I think you'll understand it when I do the plot drop, because, well, I'm going to do the plot drop. I'm going to get through this really fast, because I know this movie decently well, because I know all its flaws. Okay, so, Man of Steel, in a short amount of time. We start on Krypton for 20 frickin' minutes. And basically, it's the same Superman story that we all know and love. Superman gets rocketed off of Krypton before it explodes. Here's the main difference. This Krypton, there are no such things as natural birth. Everyone gets born in some kind of weird insecty test tube type of thing, and it's like more of like a caste system where like your fate is determined since your birth. You're going to be a scientist. You're going to be a soldier guy. You're going to be a politician. Yeah. That's just it. Everyone's got the rules defined from birth. But Kal-El, Superman, Clark Kent, was born naturally, and he's the first one to be born naturally on Krypton in like thousands of years. And so Jor-El, his father, before he rockets him off to Earth, is like, hey, here's all the genetic information of Krypton that I encoded into your DNA. Bye! Boo! Same Superman story that we all know and love. Lands in Kansas, gets picked up by the Kents. It's a kid, has a hard time being a kid because, he's getting powers, and he doesn't understand stuff, and his parents are really nice. His dad's kind of maybe teaching him to, like, don't be a hero, possibly. It's very weird. His relationship
the lesson
with his
from the dad is not good.
It's not good. Whereas Pa Kent, Ma and Pa Kent are like the reason why. It's nature and nurture with Clark. But his parents, the Kents, are very good people.
Yes.
And they did a fantastic job raising Clark.
Yeah.
In this movie,
especially Martha.
Yeah. That's the name of my mother.
I know.
Why did you say that name?
Why did you say that name? Let's go. Let's start the Justice League.
So, eventually, Pa Kent dies in a tornado for no reason. And then Clark tries to find out where, because there's no crystal. He doesn't have a crystal like he does in all the other films. There's no Fortress of Solitude. He just wanders the planet for years trying to find who he is and where he came from.
There was no reason for Pa Kent to go. Just let Clark go.
You're right.
He doesn't have to use his powers. He just has to be invulnerable.
Yeah. He could have just like held onto him and just stood his ground and like miraculously saved. Like, oh, we didn't get sucked up. I don't know what happened.
Ripped the door off the car, grabbed the dog, and ran.
Yeah. No, don't.
Anyway, sorry, we're plot dropping. We gotta keep moving.
So Clark eventually finds an 18,000-year-old Kryptonian ship out of nowhere. Thankfully, he had a small like data crystal from his ship that downloaded his father's AI consciousness into this thing. It's like, hey, here's the backstory of all the things that happened on Krypton.
Oh,
Also,
that's fun.
Here's a suit that I just made for you that just happens to be your super suit.
Yeah.
Go be the hope for the future.
There's no logical reason for him to ever wear that outfit. I'm sorry. Everyone's like, I don't believe though he got a super suit. I'm like, it's all stupid. It's all dumb.
No, it can be done correctly. It's possible. It's worked in the past. Anyways, so he goes off to be be Superman now.
Sure.
Meanwhile, Lois Lane figures it out almost immediately. She figured it out immediately what was going on.
She's Lois Lane.
Yes. Well, this is the best Lois Lane reporter ever. She figured it out immediately.
I like this Lois Lane.
Oh, no.
Thought they did a good job with her.
Yeah, Amy Adams did a fantastic job. But, like, Lois Lane figures it out
Also, Lois
immediately.
Lane's not a ginger. She's just not. It's hard for me to get around.
Really?
Yeah, Lois Lane in my head has just never had red hair.
It was like a strawberry blonde.
Amy Adams?
Yeah.
Her hair is red, homie.
Not that red.
It is
in this movie,
red.
it was lightened up a lot in this movie.
I understand, but Lois Lane is a brunette.
Lois
Anyways.
Lane has black hair.
Yeah, or...
Either way, Lois figures it out immediately. She starts talking to Clark, and she's like, "Oh no, they're good. Okay, so they're basically friends." Out of freaking nowhere, in no way connected to what's been going on for the past hour, Zod shows up in a ship.
Yeah.
Oh hey, I'm here for all the genetic information from Krypton that I know Jor-El sent. I know where is it. I'm gonna destroy Earth. And then the whole movie starts basically of like Zod coming to Earth. I want Kal-El. Clark gives himself up. Oh, Krypton's atmosphere is different and weakens me, but also Earth's atmosphere weakens Kryptonians. for like 20 minutes. I don't know. It's really weird. It's kind of dumb. They fight in Smallville. So many people die.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
And then Zod sets up like a world engine to terraform the whole planet into Krypton for some reason.
Which makes no sense.
Nope. Doesn't make any sense.
Why would you kill the one thing that was making you all super beings?
Well, the sun is... Because Krypton had a red sun.
I understand that, but
I don't know.
But
yeah,
every time Superman got close to the terraforming machine, his powers got all wibbly wobbly.
They did get wibbly wobbly. Superman fights a bunch of robot tentacles for some reason, destroys part of the world engine, heads back to Metropolis, and actually the U.S. military takes out the Zod ship in a pretty cool fashion.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then with all the Kryptonians gone, it's just Zod and Kal-El left, and they fight, and they barely hurt each other the whole time. And then Clark snaps Zod's neck to save a couple of people.
Yeah.
And he's really sad about it. And then after
I
the
actually
end,
like that he kills Zod.
sure,
And I know that like a lot of people were very conflicted about it.
yes, because it's the first time in cinema that we've seen Superman kill somebody.
Yeah, but I will say 5 minutes before that, Zod says specifically,
Yes,
this
I will
ends-
not stop.
I will not. This will end with either you or me dead.
Yes,
So
yes,
there was no choice.
no, he did not. Yes, he took the choice away from Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and people are like, Superman doesn't do that. I was like,
He has done. Superman has
Yeah.
killed people in comics before.
absolutely. He
But
does.
it was a very shocking moment that I don't think that the general audience was ready for, because they've
Sure.
never seen that type of Superman before. Because Superman always tries to find a way of not killing people.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, oh my
But I
god,
think-
did he actually kill him?
Well, yeah. People
Whoa.
are like, man, they destroyed kind of destroyed an entire city. I'm like, in my mind, if I'm being 100% honest, that is the ramifications of the power level we're dealing with. I understand it's upsetting and it's a lot,
Yeah.
but you don't have the power of basically a god, and things just go quietly in that regard. Like that, it's people are like, man, the Superman movie was like really violent, like a lot of things, like there was a lot of destruction. And I was like, yeah, that's what happens when Superman fights. Like, and you're just used to watching cartoons and stuff, and he just like rockets through a building, and everyone's magically fine because it's a cartoon. Like, and it's just like, oh, you knocked out all the support beams on that building. Oopsie doodles. I liked this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time, and it's interesting. A lot of the stuff that I liked about it is stuff that you clearly get really. I thought Krypton was great.
It's dumb.
I thought it was a fun way they set up Krypton to me in a way that felt truly alien.
Sure.
Then I really appreciated about that. I will say that the little robots with like the faces with like the little like squares that like popped out like that, I found those very triggering.
Really?
And I really didn't like it.
Oh.
I didn't like the like little nanite things. Like every time like the little like it's like you
Yeah,
know
the
like
little
when you see
nail-
like the
yeah.
honeycomb like holes on things like in a it was
Yep.
triggering that.
Yeah.
And
If something's wrong, yeah.
I was like, this is not.
Yeah.
But I appreciated how alien it felt.
sure.
So I was like, I don't like that, but they all seem fine, because they're aliens. I thought the concept of them like Kryptonians not having natural births and like everyone kind of having a predestined, and that being set up as the difference for Clark having a choice
Sure.
and him choosing to defend humanity.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was very compelling. And also, like, I didn't feel like there were moments where I was like, I actually felt like Superman was in trouble. Like, there were moments where I was like, oh, like, this isn't going to go well for Supes, which is hard to do in a
Okay.
Superman property, in my opinion, because a lot of times it's like, I have kryptonite, blah, 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 and it's like, okay. I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to write. Like, I felt like there was a direct correlation to the sun and his powers. Like there was more of it's not just like he's invulnerable at all times. It's like, no, I'm kind of like a
Solar battery.
I'm a solar battery.
Yeah.
Yes, I felt that. And I, if anything, my only frustration with the movie is that I feel like they leaned a little too hard into Superman being an alien, and that I was like, there was no his transition into like just choosing humanity didn't feel like as
Yeah.
prominent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a good time.
Okay.
of this movie. We did not do a Discord watch along for this one because this was just me. But
Yes. Well, because this one's banked for a couple weeks in the future. I hadn't watched it since it came out, and when I watched this movie in the theater, when I walked out of the theater, it was the same way I walked out of Attack of the Clones, which was I defended that movie for a couple of weeks before it really set in. It was like, yeah, the movie wasn't all that good. It was not.
oh,
Yeah, that movie wasn't that good.
you defended Attack of the Clones
for 2 weeks.
Oh,
For 2 weeks, I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it,
yeah.
but it's not a good movie.
No.
The problem with this movie is the story of the central question. Well, I mean, because the
The
cast.
problem with this movie is this movie.
Well, the cast is fantastic.
Yeah.
The acting is great. Like everyone did a
I
fantastic
actually think
job.
the cinematography is really good too.
Yes, there is a place for Zack Snyder's eye and his type of action in a superhero film.
Oh, I agree.
The story that they're telling, though, was told incorrectly in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because the movie doesn't really start. We don't get to Clark until 20 minutes. There's 20 minutes on Krypton of just getting to the point where, like, we all know what's about to happen. Krypton's about to explode, and Kal-El's about to get rocketed off. And it took 20 minutes to get to the point of, like, hey, here's the MacGuffin I'm giving you. Away.
I enjoyed that only because I feel like we've never really we'd never really spent any time on Krypton. And so I thought I was not bored or thought it was weird in any way. Because I was also like, well, if we're doing an origin story, do it. Like, give me the full shebang.
Okay.
And it also services to set up the bad guy in this film.
Sure. It's also the wrong bad guy. Zod is not is not your first villain.
Okay. I mean, I would ask the question who is better, but I know that's just going to be in your fix.
Yes. Also, I mean, I will grant you, Superman does not have the best rogues gallery, but there.
It's not even fucking close, dude.
I know, but you can ramp the threats. There are enough characters in
Sure.
Superman's backstory.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Mizzleplex. Yeah, woo!
It's not him.
Woo!
You're not going to do a fifth dimensional imp in the first
Yeah,
movie
man,
either.
woo! Oh, Parasite. Woo! He's just purple. All right! Dude, it's Luthor, Zod, Brainiac. That's it.
There are plenty of others.
Woo!
Okay. But the thing with Clark being lost in the beginning of the movie, of just like floating around the planet trying to figure out what the heck where he's coming from, is a waste of time.
1,000%. I agree with you.
Because like in the original, and he's got the crystal from his pod. He makes the fortress. Here's all the information you need.
Yeah.
Here's everything about Krypton. And it's like, but him just wandering and just the way.
It's the movie trying to set up. This is a different Superman. He's a little bit broodier. He's a
Yeah,
little bit like more
which is,
self-serious.
like, not-
and I don't care.
I don't care. He just needs the information. But here's the
No.
other thing: the scene in the bar when he's just, being a waiter or whatever, helping out, and the guy flirts with that girl, and she's like, "Stop it!" And he steps out for
He
her.
doesn't flirt with that girl. He assaults.
He
that
assaults
girl.
her. That's similar to Superman 2,
Sure.
and when Clark, doesn't have his powers and steps up, and he gets beat down by a random guy when he doesn't have his. And at the end of the movie, when he has his powers back and has beat Zod, he goes back to that bar or that diner and flexes on that guy. So this scene in Man of Steel is a kind of a nod to that scene.
Sure.
But like in Superman 2, like he just lets that guy come at him, and then he just kind of humiliates him a little bit. In like, everyone's like, what happens? I've been working out, and it's like kind of a cute, like, because he humiliated him, he beat him in a fight, but like he didn't straight up throw trees through his truck.
Dude, I thought that was awesome.
Like, was
Get
it
'em.
was
Get
it
'em.
awesome?
Get
Sure,
'em.
but like
Get
that's
'em.
it's just like that's okay. That's revenge maybe Batman would do. That's
don't know,
just
man.
yikes. Because Clark ruined that guy's livelihood.
So what?
I'm just saying.
He
It just
could have
seemed
ripped
to
both of his arms off.
Yes, he could have.
Pop goes your arms.
It's just all the things leading up to the point where Clark gets the information.
Don't hit on the weight staff or I'll rip off your arms. Maybe your head or your legs too. Pop go your extremities. Go get get him, Superman! Oh God!
Oh, no! It's just the whole thing. Like it didn't feel like Superman. The central question of the movie was, if Clark comes out as Superman, will everyone be scared of him?
Yeah.
And he doesn't actually do anything heroic in the movie until the fight in Smallville,
Sure.
which is 90 minutes into the
He
film.
saves that bus.
It's a
He
kid.
saves those kids.
Yeah.
For me,
But like that didn't.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm fine with them subverting expectations of Superman because I think it needs it. But like, and I know a lot of people like he is a beacon of hope. He's the guy. So I get why people were frustrated by that.
Sure.
For me, I'm okay with it because if anything, it was like, okay, we're deconstructing Superman to some degree. At least it may not be elegant, but it's not unthoughtful, if that makes any sense.
No, it just wasn't done well enough. That was like the fights were really cool, but like it didn't feel like a good representation of what Superman, because there are really good deconstructions of the character, but this just felt like, oh, we're just gonna do a bunch of action and Zod's here now and we're not gonna answer the question. Is like, oh, because you keep posing it the whole time. His dad's like, maybe you shouldn't have saved people, maybe you should just stay secret, maybe don't do anything. And he's like, but I want to help, but like, maybe you shouldn't, maybe you just shouldn't. And that's just like, what? And then, nope, just let me die.
Well, and also,
What?
when you have a caliber of Diane Lane and Kevin Costner playing the parents, you gotta do more. You gotta give me more.
Yeah.
That's like my whole fix.
Oh, is it really?
Pretty much. Like, I didn't agree with his mindset, but the shot of Kevin Costner by the car with the tornado coming and him holding his hand out to Clark and saying, don't. It got me.
Oh, really?
I didn't agree with, but that's the thing. That's the magic of movies sometimes, is like the way something is shot and the way something is like structured. I may not agree with the sentiment, but I can appreciate the moment.
Sure. I'll give you that.
Can I tell you this is going to make you mad, I think.
Okay.
Can I tell you my least favorite thing about like the Superman movies writ large?
Sure.
And you're going to argue with me and you're going to tell me why I'm wrong. But we both know deep down inside,
Okay.
I'm right. The S doesn't mean hope. I hate it. The S means hope. No, it doesn't. It's an S. It was Superman. They made a Superman. When they made it the character, it was an S on the chest for Superman.
That only came about in this movie.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was in the old ones too.
No.
Oh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. I think it's so dumb. Like, the S stands for hope. No, it doesn't. It's Superman. You're Superman. Like it's super. You have an S on your chest because your name's Superman. Like guys. That's so stupid. And you know me, I'm the most hopeful person you'll ever meet.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
It's so stupid. It's just not. They had to justify why he had an S on his chest because it's stupid.
Okay.
It's not.
Listen, you're not.
I thought you were gonna like really come at me with this.
No, this is a new thing.
Oh, okay.
They came.
Oh, I have not seen the old Superman.
This
movies.
is a new thing. This is like, I guess, maybe Zack Snyder came up with it, or it came up recently in the comics of like, maybe this symbol should mean a thing. So no, this is a more newer iteration of like, oh no, all the Kryptonian houses had sigils, and the House of L's sigil just happened to be in this configuration, and it means hope for us. But that is a retcon of just like, why do we have put an S? Well, because he's Superman. Yeah, because his character was made 100 years ago when that was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Now we need to justify things. Why do you have a bat on your chest to enlist fear in the hearts of criminals?
That, or why did we or you don't have to explain anything. Just put the S on his chest and move on. You know what I mean?
Listen,
sometimes people think like, I just feel like it's script supervisors being like, well, we should justify this, or don't. Or just do the thing.
Yeah, it's modern storytelling.
Just have it as Martha made the suit. And
we want justifications.
I don't know. I think it's stupid.
Hello again, gentlemen. I'm going to pop back in here because there's actually a little bit of information on the history of the Superman S. Yes, originally the S stood for Superman. However, in the 1978 movie, Superman the movie, it's the House of L crest that just happens to be S-shaped. This was Marlon Brando's idea. Then, in the 1986 Superman reboot comic, The Man of Steel, Jonathan Kent designs the logo based on a Native American symbol which implies that Superman was a, quote, healer. Now, in the 2004 Mark Waid comic series, Birthright, the S stands for hope, and Superman believes that it's his family crest. Now, additionally, on the Supergirl TV show from 2015, it stands for her family motto, Stronger Together, which supports the show's larger themes. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
And it just is not a take you would think I would have.
No, because you're a hopeful person.
Yeah, it just didn't. I was like,
It just
I
felt.
went, no. I was like, no.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing as like, oh, just save Martha. My mom's name is Martha.
No.
Like, no, that's not.
no.
Because
I'm so
that
sorry.
felt like that. Honestly, that felt like I just flashed back to him sitting in front of his computer, being like, "Wait a second, both of their moms' names are Martha."
I'm gonna be honest. With
I got it.
you. I
Like,
keep forgetting
nah,
that movie exists.
Nah, man.
To me, that movie, Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, is like kind of a like fever dream of a film for me.
Oh yeah, and we'll get there too. We'll do that eventually. Yeah, the thing is, the destruction in this movie, it felt like it was too much. This movie was so like this. There was more destruction going on in Metropolis with Superman v Zod than the first Avengers film.
Yeah.
Which was just like, okay, please stop. This feels too much. It felt wrong. And you're not wrong. And you're not wrong.
It's realistic though.
Yes, but
It's and
you're
that's-
not wrong in that. From my perspective, it's like, gee, okay, can we? Yeah, you're right. But like, also, good God, can we not destroy
but it
Metropolis this
also
one? Good Lord.
I will say this thematically, I think it's on point. From what he's trying to make from this movie, if the whole concept is like, is humanity going to be afraid of Superman? He gives them a good reason to be afraid.
Okay, sure. You're not wrong. What happens after the fight, though? Do we ever come back to that question?
No,
We
well,
don't. No, we don't.
yeah. But you know what I'm saying.
Sure, he downs the drone. He's like, that was $1 million drone. I was like, you're never trying to find out where I hang my cape. Generally, you're not. And the girl's like, he's kind of hot. Like, that felt like the first, like, actual, like, that's it. That's your scene.
Yes.
Clark being confident, doing a thing, and be like, hey, I was raised in Kansas. I'm on your side. You're going to have to trust me. I'm here to help. Like, that was it. The final scene of the movie finally got it. But
And
like,
I feel like this movie and it is frustrating to me that this movie's not perfect, but I feel like this movie could have set up a fun trilogy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the kind of thing where I was like, it's a little gritty, it's a little bit rough around the edges, but like, it's serviceable. Like, there's a way to get this off the ground.
yes.
And I guess it's frustrating that we didn't really get that.
No.
I think we need to get into our fixes.
We should get into our fixes. We've been keeping the peaches for a while. Let's get to our fixes. You're going to go. Jay's going to go first.
I am going to go first because my fixes are not. It's not. Honestly, this is not an overhaul in any way.
Okay.
I'm mostly fixing the first act.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like if you fix the first act, it's like chiropractic. It's like if you just kind of like if you get like the base,
The alignment right.
you get the alignment right. Like a lot of things are gonna fix their way on their way out.
Sure.
I am keeping the Kryptonian opening because I thought it was fun.
Okay.
I thought it was great. The only thing I'm changing about the opening in Krypton is that we're not putting the codex of Kryptonian DNA into his body.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make... We're dealing with an alien race that like is capable of all these things, but even I was like, that's not... He was a baby and you altered his DNA like that? He wouldn't have made... That is not a thing that happens. That doesn't make any sense. Do we need his body dead? Or like, I guess, and it's like more for me. I was like, it didn't even add any stakes.
It didn't.
To what Zod was already doing. It didn't matter. It could have been the MacGuffin. So we're keeping it the MacGuffin.
Sure. Hey Jay, did you say steaks?
Yeah, I did. How dare you? Another thing that really frustrated me about this movie was that I felt the flashbacks like actually in the way that they structured the flashbacks in this and the way that like the storyline unfolded, it commits the one sin that like for me is actually real almost unforgivable.
Okay.
I lose track of the concept of how time has progressed.
Oh, okay.
I hate it when that happens. I like to have a firm idea of how much time has passed.
Between scene 1, flashback, and then scene 2, you would need to like, wait a second. Lois just shows up to the thing and a place off.
Yeah, it's like how much time. Like, don't like if you're gonna jump a couple of months after a flashback, you need to inform me in some way as an audience member. And I feel like this movie, like, it wasn't terrible, but it's.
Yeah, that first act is the time is all over the place.
If I don't have a concept of time in a movie, I tune out.
That's a very good point.
So we're honestly keeping this linear.
Oh,
This
okay.
first act is Clark landing in Kansas.
Sure, yeah.
And I want to see Martha and Jonathan find Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And look, if we're doing the origin story, you got to just do the origin story.
Sure.
Like, I guess for me, it's like they're like, oh well, we've done so much Superman in the past. I'm like, okay, well then don't do an origin story. Mm-hmm. If you're doing it, do it. So we're doing it.
Okay.
And I think it also, like, to me, it shows an investment from the filmmaker that we are planting the roots properly to move forward.
Sure.
Because once you have assumed that we all kind of know the origin story, that's where, like, having the audience kind of assume that compounds exponentially as you go.
Okay.
I feel sometimes.
But like they did it with the recent Spider-Man films.
In what regard?
But didn't do the origin. Spider-Man just shows up and has his 3 movies.
I would argue that they
should have had.
I would argue that those first 3 movies are the origin story.
Okay.
We get all the way to the
but
point.
we never saw the bite. Isn't that kind of like?
Oh, I'm taking more origin story from like a killing Uncle Ben situation than I am a spider bite.
I got you.
No, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, but Spider-Man, yeah, they were like, they didn't do it. We just did it.
Yeah.
He was already Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like if the movie could have just been him, he's Superman.
Yeah.
But like if we're gonna do an origin,
if you're doing
you gotta do it.
Okay. If you're starting on Krypton, the next bunch of scenes better be Clark as a kid.
Yes.
I gotcha.
I like the idea of setting up a kind of a montage in the opening Krypton stuff of as Jor-El is prepping everything to send Cal to Earth. I like the idea, like, in an up style way. I like the idea of like interspersing a montage of a young Martha and Jonathan like trying to get pregnant over and over and over again and it not working.
Oh.
Like, I like the idea of like them like trying to start a family and like trying to make it work, and like all the while like Jor-El is setting up Superman.
We can actually see how important Clark is to them.
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. That's very good.
And he lands. They find their baby. That was one thing about this movie that I really liked. I like that like the hearing comes in and it's very disorienting.
Too much.
And I like the idea of I want to set up that both of them kind of help him come into his own, and they obviously know he's not. And I don't think they hide anything from him, but I like the idea that like Martha helps with certain things and Jonathan helps with other things. Like with him having too much, him hearing too much and seeing too much. Like Martha's the one that kind of helps him like center himself.
Focus. Yes.
It's the kind of thing where they're like, they explain to him like, hey, like, here's how we found you. Like, you came in the ship. They explain it like relatively early. I think like before he's like going to school.
Sure.
And they explain like, you're different. That doesn't mean you're bad. Mm-hmm. But that also means that like we're not sure where you came from, and we're not sure what if people are looking for you. But like you're still our son. But like when you're going to school, like you need to like kind of, you don't need to hide who you are, but like you need to hide what you can do.
Right.
And I think that's the like they're taking a very mature mindset. Like that specifically, you don't need to hide who you are, but you need to hide what you can do,
right.
because you might also hurt other people, and we don't want to hurt other people,
right? That's very good,
because it's less about people like attracting attention and more being like, we need to keep everybody safe. School doesn't go super well because Clark is obviously like trying to like hide who he is.
Doesn't go super well.
What's up?
It doesn't go super well.
No, it goes hope well, right? It means hope.
I'm turning your mic off. Hold on a second. I'm turning your mic off. It's just me from now on, everybody. You're gonna hear Jay in the background of my mic. How dare you? How dare you?
It's so stupid.
I'm gonna walk out. Jay,
Beats hope. How dare you? No, it doesn't. It's an S. It's an S. Don't even.
I want to leave this podcast.
Don't even
right
make it
now.
more than it is.
How dare you? I'm so upset.
And this is where we keep the bus crash.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But I think the bus crash goes in such a way that the town kind of starts to understand where he is, but I think they see him as a miracle, and I think they're not quite as like aggressive about it. But he saves the bus, but I think there are some students who don't make it because like he like hesitates and he isn't sure what he's supposed to do, and it's the kind of thing where
he who hesitates drowns his schoolmates.
I also am leaving this podcast.
Okay.
So, like, who's doing this
Good
podcast
job. That was nice.
Well, Brian, take over.
Brian, this is
10 hot. What's your fix?
yeah. Well, yeah.
Welp, I guess I need to host another podcast now, so, Hey, Peaches! Welcome to Fix It. We're friends. Don't let friends fix pop culture alone. I'm your host, producer Brian, and it's really lonely to host a podcast by yourself, even if you have a great fix for Man of Steel like I do. So, we're just gonna throw it back to the guys. Jay, your fix so far is really hope. And Adam, I look forward to your hope fix. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
So, from here, I think we see a young Clark who is trying to come into his own, but also like isn't necessarily sure like what he's capable of, or is he good enough, or the death of like the couple of students like really weigh on him. And I think Jonathan finally sees this and is like, hey, I don't want everyone to know what you can do, but you and I need to know what you can do. So this is where I don't think Jor-El teaches Cal how to be Superman in this movie. His parents teach
do.
him how to be Superman. And so I love the idea of like a long kind of training montage of Jonathan and Clark just like in like goofing around in the barn and in the fields and stuff, because they have a ton of land.
They do
so
have a lot
like
of land, yeah.
they can do a bunch of stuff out there, like, and teaching him how to fly and like do all these things and like
Clocking
what
him
he's
as he runs
capable of.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Clark is becoming a teenager, or like becoming like a young adult, and I think we can. I think this is where you add in what's his name from Smallville.
Tom Welling?
Yeah, because I feel like if we're gonna do like the progression of time, let's just throw a bone to the fans and throw in like Tom Welling.
Wow.
Sure. At that point, he would be old enough that like he'd be like in his 18 or so, or is he too old?
Well, he's too old.
Too old. Then never mind.
Yeah. Smallville's almost done in 2013. He's in his 30s at that point.
I'm going to pop in here with some Smallville info because I love Smallville. So Smallville ran for 10 seasons, 2001 to 2011 on the WB, which became the CW halfway through its run. Smallville's Tom Welling was born in 1977 and would have been 36 in 2013, but around 34, 35 when they filmed Man of Steel. How many times can I say Smallville? Smallville, 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 Smallville. Not that time. Back to you, gentlemen.
The training has gone really, really well, and Clark is kind of coming into his own, and he's ready to
go.
He's ready to go, and Jonathan and Martha are not ready to let him go, and there's obviously like a really like mean conversation between the two of them. Clark like flies off, but eventually like Jonathan finds him in the barn, like after he kind of comes back. And I think there's like a really meaningful scene. It's just like Jonathan finally like explains to him, like, you know, we tried so hard to have a family. We tried so hard to like, you know, and you're not ours, but like, sorry. Dad feels, I'm going to have a son soon.
Yes. And you're going to be crying all the time.
Sorry.
Do you need me to take over real
It's
quick?
like what you're able to do. It's like you're a miracle, but you are our miracle first. So we're having a hard time letting you go. And it's like we know you're supposed to be the person you're supposed to help people, but like we're just not ready to let you go. We see him leave and head to Metropolis and start helping people. And people start to kind of know who Superman is. And Martha builds the suit, and it's just nuts because he's Superman. But I think eventually, then this is how honestly, I'm kind of at the end of my fix because I think from here, I think we can track.
Then Zod shows up and
a lot
I
like the idea of Jonathan. Jonathan gets very sick and dies.
Oh no!
And it's like the kind of thing, and I think that's more poetic because it's the kind of thing. It's like the one thing that Clark can't save him from.
Yeah.
And it's just the kind of thing where he comes home while Clark is there. He inspects the ship that he came in. And he's like, I just need some answers. As he's going through the shuttle, it sets off gives him coordinates for the seed vehicle. As we're seeing Lois Lane get to that sequence, and she's taking pictures, and she kind of just sees as she's taking pictures, she sees just a bolt come down,
like a blur, like a red blue blur.
Yeah. But also I think before Jonathan's death, all of his stuff in Metropolis it's incognito. He doesn't. There's no cameras, no nothing. Like he's keeping it on the DL. And so he finds the ship, meets Lois, and then we kind of set in motion. Oh, one more change.
Sure.
I think Jor-El is also interested in restarting Krypton. Just not on Earth.
Oh,
he was like,
sure.
I have given you the ability. I have given you all the tools you need to rebuild Krypton. Mm-hmm. He's like, there are these eligible planets. If you're not interested in terraforming Earth, there are these other options. And Clark is just not.
Yeah,
he's interested in that, but it's not. He has to make the choice. Everyone is making him have to choose humanity. Mm-hmm. And I think we learned from Zod that, I've been to those other planets. They're dead. It's not happening. Dead. Yeah. Man, he's so intense.
He really is. Michael Shannon does not mess around.
He really doesn't.
He does not.
Yeah, and then I think the movie kind of goes from there. And I'm not changing much because I thought a lot of the action was really fun. Zod was interesting. Mm-hmm. I thought it was fine. But I wanted more Kevin Costner as Superman's dad.
Sure.
And Diane Lane as his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my fix.
All right. That's it. That's a much better movie.
Yeah. Because we see him become human.
Yes.
Because we started on this alien world that's so alien, we have to see him become a human.
Mm-hmm. Good job, dude.
Thanks.
Okay. My turn.
Oh boy,
strap in, everybody. I went in a completely different direction. As I said earlier, the central theme of this whole movie is if Superman shows up, would everyone be scared of him, or would they accept him? I'm gonna go ahead and keep that question as that's what this movie's gonna be about.
Oh, okay.
They asked an interesting question. If you want to modernize Superman, that would be the question you talk about.
Yeah.
They didn't answer it at all.
I'm here for it. I think that's great.
This movie is going to answer it. Also, casting stays the same. Everyone did a fantastic job.
Oh, I don't think there's any need to change any casting. Yeah.
And this movie is going to be a little bit like Superman versus the Elite, which I think you'd really, really like, because that is a story from the comics that was called Whatever Happened to Truth, Justice, and the American Way.
Oh, yeah.
Where Superman and this group called the Elite show up, and they start taking care of business, taking out the trash. And everyone and public sentiment goes Superman just stops people, and then they go to jail and they come back. These Elite guys are making sure these guys never come back.
Yeah, they're Batman.
Yes, but even I'm in my storytelling lean.
No, I know. That's the thing. If you want to lean, that's fine. Just
lean into camera. Make sure
or
you
just,
stay
or just
camera.
move further into camera so your lean is still in the shot.
And so Superman by the end of the story is just let's have it out. You think my way is wrong? Okay, let's do it your way. And it's a very interesting philosophical discussion using Superman's powers and abilities, taking on bad guys, and they actually have the discussion through the actions and the choices that people make of okay, let's answer this once and for all. Whose way is right?
Yeah.
Which way do you really want all of this to happen? And it's very interesting. So I'm going to use a little bit of that story in this story because they're kind of asking the question: would everyone be scared if Superman exists? Here we go. We're gonna do what I kind of suggested during your fix of like Spider-Man. Like we're just starting.
Superman's here.
Superman is here.
We've already had 5 movies. There's so much, right? 5, 4.
5.
At
The
that
first
point.
4, and then Superman Returns.
Ugh.
It was not
Yuck.
Brandon Routh's fault. He did a very good job, but that movie was not great. So this is the 6th one. But everyone knows Superman's origin. He's like one of the most famous pop culture icons of all time. Everyone knows his story. We're just starting in Metropolis. Now here's the thing. Metropolis is not in a great spot. It's by no means Gotham, right? It's not like dark and gritty and like, criminal element everywhere.
Sure.
But it's not the beacon of hope, the bright city of tomorrow that it usually is depicted as. It's somewhere in between. It's having a rough patch. There is crime around. There's lots of shadows and stuff like that. But out of those shadows, and this is where we're kind of starting the movie, kind of a little bit like from like The Batman. Like we see some crime happening, and then we just see somebody emerging from the shadows, starting to stop all this crime throughout the city. Now we all know it's Superman, but like we're not going to show it. We're going to see a lot of people being like, "Oh, thank you." Because he stops muggings, he stops robberies and stuff like that, like the small time crime, and people are like reacting, but we're not going to see him do the stuff yet. And then the papers start picking up on like there's a mysterious hero like running around Metropolis, like stopping all these crimes down 10%. Well, people are like, and so the people are starting to ask this question about A, who is this mysterious hero? B, what about vigilantism? And is this a good thing? We're starting the movie pretty much off with that question.
Yeah.
While we're seeing it. So as people are asking the question,
If this is such a good person, why don't we know who they are? Yeah.
So that's kind of how the movie, the first couple minutes of the movie starts, and then we see Clark. We know it's Clark saving everybody. Clark starts his first day at the Daily Planet, and he meets Jimmy and Perry and Lois and Lombardi, and Cat Grant is there as well.
Name more people who work at the planet.
There's Kurt down by the copier edit. He's kind of sucks. There's Jimmy's pal Larry, who's another one of those pub photographers.
Sharon
is Perry's receptionist. Yeah. She's always like.
She's always eating Thai food in the office and stinking the place up.
Yeah. Perry keeps talking to her about it, but she just doesn't listen. But she does really good work, so like Perry can't like demote her or anything like that because she just does good work. She keeps the calendar really well. So
sorry, you just named a lot of names.
I did. Those are the people. Those are the people at the planet.
Yeah, I was like,
because my goal is to make this movie a movie that you would enjoy. To get because Superman's not your guy. I went by the end of this for Superman to
fill his world out for me.
Be your guy.
Yeah, fill his world out for me.
So they're like while Clark is meeting everybody, all these characters are having the discussion of who is this guy, what's going on, and Lois is on the beat. She's trying to find out who this guy is. So and also let's introduce Clark. Our Clark is not a doofus. He is because like in the 70s he was Christopher Reeve played him like a doofus.
Yeah, he's a dork.
He was a huge dork. This version of Clark is not. He's not going to be as confident as he is as Superman. He's going to be a little less confident, but like he's going to be hiding well because when this movie came out, Henry Cavill walked around New York City, no glasses, with his shirt open, with a Superman shirt on, to see like would people actually like just recognize Superman if he was walking around. And nobody did.
I will say the one thing I liked about this movie, about Man of Steel, I feel like he becomes Clark Kent to go work at the Daily Bugle just to make Lois think he's cool. And I kind of liked that. Like, oh, Lois works there. I'll go work there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you dork. You dork.
Just a friendly reminder that Clark Kent works at the Daily Planet and Peter Parker works at the Daily Bugle. Back to you, gentlemen.
So Clark, not a complete doofus, kind of a little bit of a nerd, a little bit of a pushover. He's hiding in plain sight.
Yes.
He slumps a little bit. Like he's doing a good job of like hiding and just kind of being like a normal guy, but also like a bigger guy because he's a big old stack of beef.
Has anyone ever written him as a good reporter?
Oh, Clark is a fantastic reporter.
Is he though?
Yes, he really is.
Oh,
he's very good.
All right.
So Clark gets matched with Lois, and so they go off to interview the chief of police to get a statement about this whole vigilante system, the whole vigilante thing. And Perry's like, "Go hang out with Lois. Like she's our top reporter. You're gonna learn the ropes with her." And so we get the official police stance on this whole situation. And then while they're out and they're having this talk and they're meeting, we're learning about Lois and stuff like that. Lois gets a call from Lex Luthor because he would like to provide a statement to her story, because Lex, is like one of the most famous people in town.
Yes,
people are very interested in what Lex Luthor thinks about stuff.
Yeah.
So Lois and Clark go to interview Lex Luthor. Now, by the way, Lex Luthor is now not played by Jesse Eisenberg. Lex Luthor is played by someone who's just slightly older than our main characters. He's basically the Lex Luthor from the animated series. He's a businessman first. He's very intelligent. He's got LexCorp. Like, he's not like the criminal mastermind. No. He's a businessman.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hate Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, though.
Oh, he was terrible.
Oh, okay.
It's terrible.
That's fine.
Well, because that Lex...
I also don't care.
Yeah, that... You also don't care. So I'm not even going to... I'm not even going to argue.
It's fine.
That's right.
It's like, you're... Yeah. I have no dog in this fight.
So, but he was bad. So this Lex is played by someone who's got way better acting chops and
John
looks
Hamm.
the part. John Hamm would be awesome.
John Hamm.
Yep, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So they get a quote from Lex. Lex is not really thrilled about this because it's like, what happened to Law and Order? This person clearly is not, abiding by our laws.
Because Lex Luthor is best written when he is a foil to Superman.
Yes.
And John Hamm is a foil.
Because Lex has a point.
Yes.
Lex's point of view
is very rarely wrong.
Is not exactly wrong.
Yeah.
So Lex is not all that thrilled by it.
His methods are wrong.
Oh, his methods are terrible. But his point is not entirely wrong. So that night, Clark returns home, and he starts saying, no, he helps a couple people on the way home and stuff like that. And but like everyone's talking about this vigilante, and everyone like, some people are like, yeah, this guy's great. Some people are like, yeah, but also I don't know, somebody can just like do this stuff's running around the city. That's really scary. I'm not sure. So Clark goes home to Smallville.
Okay.
And he talks to both of his parents. They're both alive. I'm not killing Pa Kent because I want him in this movie, because his parents they're gonna have this discussion of kind of what the discussion was in the movie of like, hey, some people are gonna be scared of somebody who, you're a mysterious stranger like coming from the shadows. Like, you're not that guy from Gotham. He scares people like that. He wants to. Like, clearly,
that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. Like, clearly, like Gotham is scared of this guy, but
he needs that. He doesn't have powers.
Well, they don't know that. But yes, I know exactly. But that's what that's what they're saying. Like, hey, you're not that guy. You're our son is not meant to be in the shadows. You're supposed to be in the light. Like, you can't. I think what you need to do is like you should be a symbol, like of peace, of hope for this city. So like, maybe we're going about this the wrong way. Maybe you need like a suit. He's like, oh yeah, something like to hide my identity, but like, yeah, to be like a symbol for the people, the city. Exactly. So Clark and Ma go off to the fortress, and together they figure out the suit, because so the Ma can still make a suit for him.
Yeah.
But with Kryptonian technology and stuff. This was a cool ass suit. And we can also see some nods to like old suits and stuff like that. Like, no, not quite like that. Oh, wait, you can you can do your, like, what if you have your Kryptonian family symbol as a thing? It looks like an S. Like, Mom, actually in Kryptonian that means hope. Like, yeah, but son, here it's an S. Sweetie gets an S.
Yes.
Sweetie gets an S.
Okay, did you add that in to make me happy?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, yeah.
But also like she's like that's but so it works both ways. But son,
yes.
your crest looks like an S here. So like
they're gonna call it. Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna. I mean, you're gonna have to need a name.
Yeah.
But we can come up with that later. But like, let's use that. That's really nice. So together they come up with a suit, and now he flies away, and he's like, okay, end of Act 1. Like, I'm Superman. Flies back to Metropolis. But meanwhile, in Metropolis, a well-organized gang is doing a heist at the museum. And they're like, okay, there's some guy...
stealing dinosaur bones.
Stealing something.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, there's this guy out there that's like stopping a bunch of crime, and it seems like, he's got some type of power or whatever. Like, let's gear up to make sure we can... If this guy shows up, we can stop him.
Yeah.
So they have all this tech and gear with them. And while they're at the fortress and they're picking out the final suit, which, by the way, I'm not going to do undies on this one. I'm going to maybe do like a red belt, but I'm not doing the undies.
Okay.
that's still like a thing that's kind of still people are still debating it. I'm not going to go one deep on this one. Clark hears the museum got broken into in the fortress. What?
I just appreciate you took like 2 minutes to just be like, we're not doing undies. I'm like, I don't care.
That was for the people. That's for the listeners. Just letting them know.
Okay.
So Clark hears the museum
We're not
heist.
doing undies.
We're not doing undies.
All right.
Clark flies back to Metropolis in his suit for the first time, and he stops the heist. But during the heist, while people are like shooting at him and trying to stop him from stopping them, kryptonite is discovered for the first time. Because that's in the comics, and also I think in the animated series, there's like they just have kryptonite, because people from the geology section, like
It's
unknown, it's just kind of there.
We don't know where this came from.
Yeah, we don't know where it came from, but here it is, and like you're gonna be like in the back room. It may not be like being shown; it could be somewhere in the back. And the guys realize that they don't know what happened, and Clark's not entirely sure either. But like his powers start going wibbly wobbly on him, and they're like, "Oh, we have a chance to get out of here. Oh, we should go." Clark gets out of the situation, even though he doesn't exactly know why he got depowered and felt really weird for a second. But he stops the guys. Now, one of the guys that was doing this heist, the leader of this heist, was a guy by the name of John Corbin. And when Clark stops him, he notices, because he's all of his super senses,
that Superman's not wearing underpants.
Yeah, it is. He's like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be wearing underpants. You going commando in there?
He's not wearing them.
Clark realizes that John Corbin has a heart condition and says, hey, you should get that looked at because there's something wrong with your heart. And John Corbin's like, what? So then the police show up, Superman flies off. So, hey, this is the first time the world has now seen Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, this is crap. Oh, the mysterious stranger has been outed. Like, this is insane. What's going on? He's stopped this heist at the museum. And so, like, now the city is like, okay, that's the guy, and they're still kind of divided. Oh, he's showing up now. He's got a whole suit or whatever. Okay. Oh, everyone's like, oh, yeah, he stopped the thing. But, like, people are still, now half are happy, half are a little nervous. So, as Clark... Oh, so he goes to work the next day, and everyone's buzzing about it. And Perry tasks Lois with trying to get an interview with Superman. And then so Lois and Clark have a whole scene of just like Lois is like, this guy needs some PR help because like clearly he's trying to help. And, like he's stepping out now, he's being in public, he's got a cool suit and all that kind of stuff. He's trying to be a symbol, clearly much different from that guy in Gotham. God, that guy's scary. But like he should probably give it an interview or something. Like clearly he needs to get some good PR going.
Yeah.
So Clark hearing that from Lois, like, all right, cool. Then comes back later that night as Superman to get interviewed by Lois. Similar to the scene from the 70s film.
Oh, yeah.
At no point
One of the most probably iconic scenes from that movie.
Oh, sure. But he's not going to see the color of her underwear, and they're not going to go flying, and Lois is at no point going to be like, can you hear my thoughts? None of that happens.
What is it, man? We've come so far culturally. You watch some old movies, and I'm like, man, it's just icky. Like the male gaze was so yucky for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, do you have to look at her underwear, Clark? You creep.
Yeah, yeah. So she also asked. I think she asked. But either way, it
still felt
it's
weird.
still weird. It's still weird.
I didn't enjoy it.
So they have a whole conversation as Clark or as Lois is interviewing him, and they have just a question about like why are you doing this? People being afraid of you. What your intentions are, and just like they talk about the truth, lies, justice, fear, fake news, being a vigilante. This movie kind of touches on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of going on right now, and like we're gonna see it through the lens of a superhero movie.
Yeah.
They're gonna touch on all of this stuff.
And marketing is really important.
Yeah. So like they have this kind of discussion, and like she's like, your values really don't mesh with the modern world. What do we call you anyways? It's like I haven't really come up with a name yet. It's like, well, that's an S. He goes, yeah, my mom said the same thing. Which she's like, oh, that's kind of cute. Well, why don't we just call you Superman? Yeah. And he's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Yeah, that's okay. That's good. That's good job, Lois. So they have that nice little interview. They kind of more lore stuff and more debate about the central question of the movie. Meanwhile, Lex sees the footage from the museum heist and realizes wait 1 second. When that rock popped out, that's when his powers got all. I don't know what that is, but I think that might be the key. Because Lex, not thrilled about this. Still like, okay, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
So Lex gets John Corbin out of prison. And I was like, because Lex also knows, because he's connected to all the things. Yeah. He's like, oh, I see that you have a heart condition. It's like, why does everybody know this but I do? What the heck's going on?
Security footage.
Yep. Well, that's how Lex just knows. He's gonna play him. He's playing this guy. So he goes, I actually have a solution for your problem that you didn't even know you had. Would you follow me? And I will, be able to, actually probably help you with your Superman problem. John's like, oh, well, okay, if it's going to fix my heart and allow me to do some stuff. Lex is like, perfect. So Lex turns John Corbin into Metallo. And Metallo is going to be our first bad guy.
Okay.
Because that's a good first movie bad guy.
Yeah, that's actually a great first bad guy.
So while that's going on, Superman goes back to the fortress to figure out, hey, what happened? And he learns about kryptonite. I was like, oh, radiation, your power, more of your powers. You're kind of you're a solar battery. There's only so much solar energy you can take in. When you use your powers, you're using it. So like you need to, you can maintain, but this radiation from the rock interrupts that whole system, and your powers can fade. And
it's kind of like an EMP for your solar battery.
Right, it messes with your solar battery. So like, it don't get around it. It's really
it's
bad.
Not hurting you. It just disconnects you from your powers.
Yeah.
Great.
Just don't, because the radiation.
Because they've never really, have they ever really gone in depth to explain why kryptonite does what it does? Really?
It's kind of the radiation from his home planet. So it's
sure.
kind of,
it just never. I think there's a fun way to set canon in there.
So Metallo goes out and does a job as a trap for Superman. Clark shows up and they throw down. So this is our first real super fight in the movie. Clark is attempting to keep people safe while John Corbin is laying into him. And we have a really cool fight. It's pretty evenly matched because he's kind of getting cybernetics right now. He's powered by kryptonite.
Metallo's good. Metallo's the right level for... It's like how the Lizard was like the right level of bad guy for that first Amazing Spider-Man movie. Mm-hmm. It's like,
that's
good.
You got to ramp the threat level up per movie. You don't start with Goblin, you end with Goblin. So they have a pretty good fight, but Metallo's like powered by kryptonite and like is kind of winning. And so eventually like Clark's trying to stop him, and then like some big damage happens, and so Clark flies away to quickly save a bunch of people, and Metallo's like, well, I'm gonna take this opportunity to bounce because I have proven my point, and see ya. So after the fight, Lex uses that opportunity, especially after Lois's article comes out about Superman, all the kind of stuff like that, to start spinning this as we shouldn't have Superman here. This guy is clearly
he's a menace.
Yeah. He's gonna J. Jonah Jameson this whole situation, because that is ultimately Lex's point through in the comics. Like, humans should be able to be in charge of our own destiny. We don't need outside help. We can pull this off. Granted, I'm probably the best of us, so I should be leading the way. Everyone should be listening to me. But humans for humanity, we don't need outside help. And this guy's, he's a menace. We don't know. We can't trust him, and we can't stop him. So like, why should we? So Lex is going to start that point of view here, and he's not entirely wrong. And he's also going to bring up the escalation theory, which has also happened in the comics of like, well, stuff like this didn't happen before you showed up. You show up, and then all of a sudden, superpowered villains show up. Where does this end? The whole city getting leveled? Bum bum bum. So, Clark, being frustrated, like trying to help people, trying to figure something out, like just grappling with this question. Once again, he goes home to talk to his parents about the whole thing. He was like, "Oh, your suit's really nice. It held up really well." And so, but this is really important because we see the human side of Clark. It's a man raised in Kansas by really good parents, just trying to do the best he can in the big city with the abilities that he has.
Yeah,
and it's not going great. Mm-hmm. No matter.
Sometimes you got to call your mom and cry.
Yeah,
because the city's hard.
Yes, and that's he's not gonna cry, but we're gonna see him frustrated and a little angry, just like this is so hard. This is so much harder than I thought it was gonna be. So because it's Clark being frustrated and angry, and not like, but just like, and his parents give him a really good pep talk because they're his parents, and they're super nice, and
Yeah.
I love them so much. And I was like, you just got to keep on keeping on, Clark. You're doing the right thing, even though people may be scared of you, for whatever reason. I know there's also a bunch of other people out there that probably really appreciate the support and the fact that you're saving them from some of the worst days of their lives.
Yeah.
So like, you're a gift to this world, son, and we love you so much.
Yeah.
So, nice human moment for Clark. So, meanwhile, while Clark's getting that pep talk, John Corbin is like, "Yeah, I'm awesome. I just beat up the city's new hero. This is gonna be fantastic. I'm unstoppable." And then he gets stopped immediately because all the stuff that Lex put in his body starts trying to grow and like out of control. And so he goes to confront Lex and is like, "What did you do to me? Rah 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 rah." And he's just like, "I don't know what you're talking about," because it's Lex. He's always got that out. He's 10 steps ahead of everybody. So he just plays Corbin and is like, "I may have a cure for whatever is happening to you. Not that I'm responsible for it, but like maybe if Superman was out of the picture, I would be able to handle your situation." So meanwhile, Lois is also trying to figure out who this Metallo guy is. Mm-hmm. She shows up to LexCorp with Jimmy just as Metallo leaves.
Okay.
And this is like, oh, wait a second. She's the one, the reporter that did their story on Superman. What if I just attack her right now? And also, Lex is there? Ooh, perfect. 2 birds with 1 stone, because he knows that Lex is the one that fucked him. So Metallo attacks Lois and Lex and Jimmy, all the LexCorp building. Superman shows up to save the day. This is when he first saves Lois and Jimmy in the big fight. Lex is like, "Oh, well, I'm going to use this opportunity because I'm Lex Luthor. I have backup plans on backup plans. I'm like the business Batman." Bye. He just Mercy like walks him out of a thing and he just goes down a secret elevator. Lex is perfectly fine, but takes again this opportunity to be like, "This whole situation is playing right into my hand. This helps strengthen my position. Destroy the building. Like, I care? Whatever. Bye." So they have another fight. And Superman, and Metallo like does some damage, but Superman goes off to save Lois and Jimmy and get them out of the way. So basically the fight, it's kind of a small skirmish for Lois and Jimmy to be saved. So John, afterwards, like confronts Lex and is just like, "Why did you do this to me?" And he's like, "Well, clearly you need help to defeat Superman. I can give you an upgrade for that, and then I can give you your cure." It's the first step in the cure.
Okay.
So Lex gives him like more exo stuff or whatever. Just you need the villain to kind of
get Yudge.
Get Yudge for
Monster
for the final fight. So John gets his upgrade. He goes to a power plant outside, like a nuclear power plant outside of Metropolis, to get the radiation boost. And the kryptonite's a little bit more effective. So when Superman shows up, he's like, John's beating the crap out of Superman.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's gonna win. He's going to win, and he knocks Clark back into the city and just starts wailing on him. Like Metropolis is Times Square, and like everyone's like, "Oh my God, Superman's about to die. This thing is about to kill Superman. He just showed up and he's gonna die," and everyone's freaking out. And Metallo's just like, this is trying to play the PR game a little bit. Like I'm the hero here. I'm stopping this guy. He's trying to use his Lex's point of view. Like I'm stopping this menace.
Yes.
And everyone, the crowd has surrounded the whole thing, and everyone's like, some people are really shocked and some people are very angry that Superman's about to die. And before Metallo goes in for like the final, because like Lois and Jimmy show up, all these people show up, and before Metallo like goes to finish off Clark, a couple kids run out, kind of like the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and step in front of Superman and tell Metallo to stop. And then that starts the floodgates of everybody else
ripping Metallo apart.
That
mob justice.
Mob justice. That's how we do it in Metropolis, baby.
Ripped his arms off.
So everybody shows up. Everyone steps in front of him, like Bibbo from the restaurant. Like all those other super Metropolis characters can kind of be there for you and get a quick moment. And it's the go get him, Spidey moment.
Yeah.
So while everyone's kind of shielding Clark from Metallo, Clark realizes like I need lead, and to be able to like block the kryptonite heart. And so like Lois and Jimmy like, oh wait a second, there's lead over there. There's some type of
lead over there.
Go get it. So Jimmy goes off.
International Lead Building. Brought to you by Lead.
Safe.
We're sorry we've been dangerous for so long.
Something Lois is street smart. Her dad's a general. Like she can just like, oh wait, there's enough people up there. Jimmy gives it. because it's Clark. He's got the opportunity he needs now to stop Metallo's advantage with the kryptonite.
Yeah.
And so they finish the fight there in the middle of the in the city, and this is where we had this moment of, okay, everyone was really scared that Metallo was about to kill Superman. Now Superman finally, thankfully we intervened, we helped save the situation. Superman's gonna be able to stop Metallo, but the crowd that just helped him, now some of them are just like, take him out. What are you doing? Stop this guy. He was about to kill you. Kill him. Because remember, this is a Metropolis that isn't the beacon of hope yet. It's still like that middle ground of like.
Oh, I know.
So like Clark's like, no, that's not how we do this. We are not executioner. I'm not gonna be judge and jury.
Yeah.
This is Clark then now standing, and this is all on camera. Everyone's filming this. This is all broadcast all over the place at this point. Clark makes his stand and defends his point of view of like, this man needs help. He has a heart condition. He was taken advantage of. This man is sick, and he deserves help. I'm not gonna kill him in front of all of you. We will repair the damage.
We're better than that.
We are better than that. We will repair the damage to the city. I'll make sure, and I will help. But we're not gonna kill this man.
Yeah.
And so John and Corbett's just like, wait, what? You're actually gonna help me after all this? It's like, of course. So Clark takes him to Star Labs, and everyone there in the rest of the city is like shocked of like, whoa, are we the kind of the bad guys? Whoa. Oh no. So like Lois makes a whole story about the whole thing about, Metropolis finding its heart, finding its new path or whatever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lex not thrilled by Metallo not taking out Superman, and also how Superman kind of won the PR battle for the moment. Mm-hmm. But like, okay, until as he's stewing in his office, Superman just sidles down right outside of his window and is like, Lex, we need to talk. Which is kind of always kind of happened. That's one of the major things that's kind of happened in the comics and the movies. Like, there's always that talk with Lex. And so they have that talk of like, I know it was you. Granted, I know I can't prove that in a court of law. Which, by the way, the law is something I kind of believe in this country. But I'll be watching you.
Well, that's one thing I would cut out of the whole Superman thing. The American way doesn't
it's gone. Yeah, it's truth, justice, and a brighter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is what they actually did change that, by the way, in recent years.
This is nationalism.
So Lex and Superman have that talk. Superman flies off, and like he does in the old movies, he flies off the low orbit and then smiles to camera and then flies off and the thing.
Yeah.
Credits. Mid-credits scene. Because we're setting up the DCU here.
You always seem like you're so close. Mid-credit scene, you like give a clue. I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. I know you wrote one. What, you didn't? You just did an hour on Superman and you didn't write it.
That was about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes. Shut your mouth.
And you didn't write a post-credit sequence? Yeah, duh.
Okay, so the first credit scene.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah, no.
You're always like, oh, I did a credit sequence. I'm like, yeah, of course you did.
It's a comic book movie in 2023. Nerd. I'd be angry if you didn't. All right.
Yeah, I'd be really mad if you didn't at this point.
So here's the first credit scene. It's Lex not happy with just being kind of having that scene with Clark. So he's like, well, probably gonna have to do this myself. And we see him descend into an elevator and get out in a lab. He's working on his battle suit.
Oh, cool. The big green thing.
The big green thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
So rest of the credits, then an after credits scene. So we're back to the moment when Clark is flying low orbit and he looks directly into camera and smiles.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Clark's been smiling the whole time, by the way. He's like a very affable person. He's not grimdark. He's smiling and having a good time being Superman. It's just hard sometimes.
Yeah.
That's all. So he's smiling to camera. And as we see that shot freeze on him smiling at camera, we back out and notice that it's actually an image from a Wayne Tech satellite.
Cool.
And we keep panning out, and we see Bruce sitting in the Batcave.
Yes.
And being like, hey, Alfred, we're going to need some information about whatever that green rock was in that guy's chest, because we're going to need to be prepared. And Alfred's like, for what, sir? For whatever's coming next. And that's the end.
Yes, and that sets up the next movie.
Yes.
Yes. That's very good. I really like your fix. And I think we can both agree, in 1,000%, the success of this movie comes down to Metallo's design. If you nail it and it's cool and interesting, really fun. If it looks kind of stupid, the movie flops. Because Metallo is really, really cool. Mm-hmm. The design I would imagine could probably get a little tricky.
What do you think would be?
I don't know, but I was just like, I was like, thinking about it because I was like, honestly, like my first thought, like, reference to Metallo is actually animated Metallo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know how that translates into...
Because in my head, I was thinking a little bit like a little cyborg of, like, because this is a thing, because we're going to see him deteriorate throughout the movie. So, like, it can kind of start with a little bit of a shield in front of his chest that opens up, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And then, like, it can progress further, so more of his body is kind of... and it could be, like, that can be a little bit CG, but also, like, practical, makeup and parts on his chest of, like, him being cannibalized a little bit
by the metal. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
But like it's like that. But we kind of see like a little bit like the arc reactor, but like we can kind of see there's a little bit.
Yeah, but I think like the final form of Metallo like needs to be like full on.
Yes. Like, yes.
Like it's got to be like, oh no.
Yes.
He's got to look like a metal gargoyle or something.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be really scary.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's gonna be scary. That's in my head.
Cool.
It was also scary.
That's the right. Yeah, that's good. That was good, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, it's just because
Superman means a lot to you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, these movies have never really done a decent job of like, no, Clark's a person. Like, because especially I wrote this right after we watched Guardians.
He's a person, but he's also really, really made the choice to be a person.
Yes. And like, that's never really come true in these movies. We've never seen that.
They circle the drain on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They keep circling it, but they never like.
It never quite hits.
When we were talking about Guardians 3, and I was like, yeah, and I said like, man, I'm actually pumped to see what James Gunn does for his Superman movie, because seeing Guardians 3 was like, oh no, he's very good at finding the humanity in these characters that do crazy, amazing superhero stuff.
The most special scenes in James Gunn movies are the ones in which the action or the central focus is actually quite mundane. It's
So like that's why I was like, oh no, Clark's got to go home and talk to his parents and be like we were when we moved to the city for the first time.
We'll see, man. I also think Superman is just a really sticky wicket.
I mean, if you humanize him, I think, and James Gunn can, of just like what makes Clark. Because remember, Clark is Superman. He's not Superman. Superman is what he does, but he's Clark all the time.
Oh,
unlike it's like Batman's the reverse of that. He's Batman. Bruce is the mask that he puts on to go out in public. Clark is always Clark. I think it's just Superman's what he can do.
Oh, I would argue it's the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah, Batman is the mask that Bruce Wayne has to put on to work through his grief.
Oh.
And Clark is the person that Superman has to put on in order to
ground himself.
Yes. Bruce can stop being Batman by not wearing the suit. Clark is always Superman.
That's true. That's a good point.
I see your argument, but I think I just think it works the exact opposite.
Okay.
Well, we did it.
Yeah, we did. That was a long one. Hey, buddy.
Woo!
Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Woo, boy. Thank you for my TED Talk on
You made it worth
Superman.
a while. You did a good fix.
Metallo!
Woo! All right, I'm so thirsty.
Brainiac would be in the second one.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you guys so very much. We love making this show. If you're listening to this wherever you catch your podcast, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a quick review, maybe with a little 5 stars, it helps the show, but also I like reading them on the little...
It does.
Someone just said that they have Disney tickets for us in the... in our review. So if you're the person who left the review of this thing, you have Disney World tickets for us, holler at your boy. I'm excited to see how that what a beautiful partnership. Also, if you're checking this out on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell and doing that YouTube that you do so well. Guacamole's Extra, you space alien neck breaking weirdos, you.
You know, the weird thing about the neck break was it was like that sonic boom special effect.
Yeah,
when it happened.
it just...
And that was
made
wrong.
It made it feel like it was a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yes, it's like wait, why would that happen? Like when they're punching, sure, but like you wouldn't break the sound barrier. You snap at a guy. Oh,
I
wait
don't
a
know,
second.
man. I don't know.
Wait a second.
But I also thought it was cool. As we end every episode, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the slow kryptonite. Yeah, only feel coming. Probably from about a couple meters away because that radiation distance. It's an AoE attack.
Unless you've got lead.
Lead.
Lead. We've been here forever. And we're sorry about that.
Oops.
Lead. Bye, guys.